Alright, welcome to our last lesson of this unit. This is 3.8, Rewriting Equations and Formulas. So what we're going to do first is we need to write the equation in function form. Now what function form is we're going to solve for y. So we're going to get y alone. So what we're going to do is we're looking to get this y alone. So we need to move everything else over to the other side. So if I have a positive 2x, I'm going to subtract 2x to move it over to the other side. So those will cancel out. What I'm going to be left with is 2y equals, now I can't combine negative 2x and 8 because the 8 doesn't have the x on it. So what I'm going to do is leave it negative 2x plus 8. So I have 2 divided by 2. Now, when I'm dividing by 2, here, to get y by itself, I need to divide everything by 2 on this side. So what I'm going to have then is y equals negative 2 divided by 2, that's negative 1x, plus 8 divided by 2, which is 4. So this is our answer because now y is by itself. We got y alone. We don't need to solve it for anything else. Next one, we're getting y alone. That's our goal. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to add 4x to get it over to the other side. So what we're left with then is 9y minus 9 equals 4x. Now I have a negative 9, so I'm going to add that to get that over to the other side as well. So I get 9y equals 4x. Now I can't combine them because the 9 doesn't have the x on it. 4x plus 9. Finally, divide by 9. Now when I divide, I need to divide everything by 9. So what I get is y equals, now 4 divided by 9, that's not really going to be a good number, so I'm just going to leave it as a fraction. So it'll be 4 over 9 x plus 9 divided by 9, which is 1. Alright, next, we still need to solve for y. So I see my y is right here. All I need to do is move this 11 to the other side. So what I'm going to do then is, since this is positive 11, I'm going to subtract 11. Now, if I look over on this side, I have a 6x and a 3. What I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract it from its like term. So 11 minus 11, that doesn't have a variable on it, neither does the 3. So I'm going to subtract that from 3. So what we get then is 3 minus 11, which is negative 8, plus 6x equals negative 4y. Divide that by negative 4, and we divide everything by negative 4. So negative 8 divided by negative 4 is going to give me a positive 2, because two negatives make a positive. Minus, now 6 I can't divide by 4, but I can take something out of both of those. I can take a 2 out of both. So 6 divided by 2 is going to give me 3x. 4 divided by 2 is going to give me 2 equals y. Here again, it looks like I just have to move over one thing. So I'm going to move over the 36. Now what I have is 8x minus 5x, 21 minus 36 is going to give me negative 15 equals negative 6y. Now, I do have two x's on this side now, so I can combine them. 8x minus 5x is going to give me 3x minus 15 equals negative 6y. Divide by negative 6 for everything. Three divided by negative 6 is going to be negative 1/2 x. Now two negatives are going to make a positive. 15 divided by 6, I can't do that, but I can take 3 out of both. So negative 15 divided by 3 is going to give me 5. 6 divided by 3 is going to give me 2. So I'll end up with negative 1/2 x plus 5/2 equals y. Alright, for this one, we need to subtract 4. What we're left with then is 6y equals 12x minus 6. Divide by 6 to everything. And we get y equals 12 divided by 6, which is 2x, minus 6 divided by 6, which is 1. So y equals 2x minus 1. Here I'm going to add 6x to both sides. So I get 6x plus 14, because the 14 is positive, equals 7y. Divide that by 7. Divide everything by 7. 6x over 7 is going to stay a fraction. Plus 14 divided by 7, which is 2, equals y. Now, moving on, we have an equation, or a formula. The area of a triangle is given by the formula A equals 1/2 base times height, where B is the base and H is the height. Solve the formula for the height H. So, for A, we're going to put A equals 1/2 base times height. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to get rid of this fraction. So how we get rid of a fraction is we need to multiply by the reciprocal. So the reciprocal, if you remember, is we're going to flip it. So instead of 1 over 2, it's going to be 2 over 1. So 2 over 1 times A, that's really saying 2 times A. So 2 times A is 2A. 1 times 1 is 1, but we don't need to write that. So all I have is 2A equals BH. Now the B and the H are being multiplied together, so I'm trying to get this H by itself. So I need to divide by B. So if we're solving for H, my new equation is going to be H equals 2 times A over B. Now it says use the rewritten formula, so the one we just wrote, to find the height of the triangle shown, which has an area of 64.4 square meters. So if we're using our new formula, H, we don't know that, equals 2 times our area, which is now 64.4, divided by whatever our base is. And it looks like our base is 14 meters. So if we do 2 times 64.4, what we end up with is 128.8 over 14. So we just need to divide that, and I get 9.2. So our new height, if we use this formula, is going to be 9.2 meters. Okay, moving on to another formula. It says the perimeter P of a rectangle is given by the formula 2L plus 2W, where L is the length and W is the width. Solve the formula for the width W. So if I have my formula, P equals 2L plus 2W, and I'm solving for the width, or the W, so I need to get W by itself. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 2L to get it to the other side. So I'm going to have negative 2L plus P, because P is positive, equals 2W. Divide that by 2. Divide everything by 2. And I get negative 1L here plus P over 2 equals W. Now the second part of this problem says to use the rewritten formula to find the width of the rectangle shown. Alright, so I'm going to use W equals negative 1 times L. Our L is 7.2 feet plus 19.2, that's our perimeter, so 19.2 over 2. So my new equation then will be negative 1 times 7.2, which is negative 7.2, plus 19.2 divided by 2, which gives me 9.6. So W equals negative 7.2 plus 9.6. And that gives me positive 2.4 feet. So our width for this problem is 2.4 feet. That's right up here. Okay, another formula here says the volume of a cone equals V equals pi r squared h divided by 3. Solve for h. So let's first solve for h. So we have V equals pi r squared h divided by 3. Now we're solving for h, so we need to get h by itself. So the first thing we need to do is get rid of this 3. So what we're going to do is multiply it by 3, because that's dividing. And the opposite of dividing is multiplying. So we have V times 3, which is 3V, equals pi r squared h. Okay, now what we're going to do is we have pi and r squared being multiplied to h. So I need to divide by pi to get pi over here. So now I have 3v divided by pi equals r squared h. Now I need to undo this r squared, and the way to undo an r squared is to find the square root. Excuse me, before we do that, we don't need to do the r squared just yet. So we have r squared h. Now we also have multiplication here, so we got to divide that. Sorry about that. We're going to divide r squared from here. So what I'm left with then is h equals 3v over pi r squared. So now I'm going to use this equation to find h when v equals 25.12 and r equals 2 centimeters. We're going to use 3.14 for pi. So now we're just going to replace things. So we have 3 times 25.12. We use 3.14 for pi times r squared, so 2 squared. So now our new equation is going to look like this. H equals 3 times 25.12, which gives me 75.36, over 3.14 times 2 squared, which is 4. So that new equation is going to be 75.36 over 3.14 times 4, which gives me 12.56. Then if I solve that, I can find h. H equals 75.36 divided by 12.56, which gives me 6. So that was a lot of work, but we finally found our answer. Alright, last problem. We have the surface area of a regular pyramid. So S, the surface area, equals B, which is the base, plus 1/2 PL. We have to solve for L. So if we have S equals B plus 1/2 P times L, we're looking for the L to be by itself. What we got to do first then, we got to get rid of this B first. We're going to subtract B. Now I can't combine B and S because they're different letters. So I have S minus B equals 1/2 PL. Okay, now I'm going to get rid of this fraction. And how to get rid of a fraction is you have to multiply by the reciprocal. So if I multiply by the reciprocal, which is 2 over 1, and 2 over 1 over here, that's really just saying we're multiplying by 2. So we'll have 2 times S minus B equals, now we have PL. Now the P is touching the L, so it's multiplied. So we divide by P to get L by itself. So our new equation then is L equals 2 times S minus B divided by P. Now it says find L when S equals 68 inches squared. So L equals 2 times 68. B equals 18 inches squared minus 18. And P equals 20 inches. So we have L equals 2 times 68 minus 18, which gives us 50, divided by 20. L equals 2 times 50, which is 100, divided by 20. 100 divided by 20 is 5. So our L, our length, is going to be 5 inches.